House of Representatives expresses concern over security in Abuja, summons Minister of the FCT. 15% of the budget not enough to tackle security, House of Representatives told. And House tasks Energy Commission of Nigeria on renewable energy. It's a pleasure, as always, to have you join us on You and Your Reps. I am Victor, as welcome. Concerned about what it described as lack of modern security infrastructure in Abuja, the House of Representatives passed a resolution inviting the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to brief members. National Assembly correspondent Lamia Ali reports.
The issue was among first items considered when House members resumed sitting, coming under matters of urgent public importance as raised by the Deputy Minority Leader Tobi Okechukwu. The House noted that satellite towns of the FCT lack infrastructure and alleged that lands in green areas were being allocated in breach of FCT master plan.
Abuja has never been as unsafe as it is today, due, among others, to the influx of bandits and other criminals.
Other motions adopted include the need for the completion of Zaria-Pambegwa Road in Kaduna State, the need to stop ocean encroachment in parts of Lagos State, and the call on authorities to intervene on the flood disaster in parts of Ebonyi State.
In Etiosa local government of Lagos State, several properties running into billions have been destroyed by flood, causing displacement of families and even loss of lives.
The general impact is most communities in Ebonyi State have been very sad as most affected area remains submerged.
35 bills passed first reading, while a bill for concurrence from the Senate seeking the prohibition of discrimination between first-degree and higher national diploma certificates were among bills passed for second reading. Plenary has been adjourned to Tuesday, 16th of November 2021 to allow House committees conclude budget defense with ministries, departments and agencies of government.
In the meantime, defense and security are at the top of federal government's financial checklist for 2022, as it allocated 15% of the budget to the sector. However, those in charge of the security architecture say it is inadequate and are calling for a change in the budget system.
Nigeria operates an envelope system of budget allocation. This places a limit on how much each agency receives irrespective of its financial requirements. The Nigeria Defense Academy told the House Committee on Defense during an analysis of its pending proposal for 2022 that it needs additional 6.5 billion naira, out of which 500 million will be used for perimeter fencing.
Everybody knows about the breach that happened. Fortifying that place should have come in from the envelope system that was submitted ab initio.
This budget had earlier been submitted before this incident of 24th of August, and that explains why we have to fit in as we have done.
At another budget defense engagements between the various intelligence-related agencies under the Office of the National Security Advisor and the House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, the need to work out a more effective funding system resonated.
This development will strengthen your operational capacity, especially in the present situation that necessitates high-level confidentiality in sharing information to relevant security agencies across the country.
The budget appraisal continued behind closed doors. The Christian Pilgrims Commission also met with the House Committee on Pilgrims Affairs to defend its budget proposal for 2022.
The total of recurrent and capital together put together is giving us 1,237 million.
Once we are able to match your proposal with government policies and aspirations of Nigerians, the committee will in turn defend your proposal at the Appropriations Committee.
The Commission appealed for more funds to expand its activities.
House Committee on Science and Technology wants the Energy Commission of Nigeria to explore opportunities that abound in renewable energy. This was at the budget defense session of the commission. National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Moribiri has the report.
Presenting its 2022 budget proposal before the House Committee on Science and Technology is the Director General, Energy Commission of Nigeria, alongside heads of the Commission's research centers. Having gone through the proposed estimates, the committee expressed concerns over merging the budgets of the 6 centers with the supervisory agency, which does not allow for autonomy to enable the centers perform effectively.
There's no provision for travel, no provision for any administrative kind of issues. So this will leave the centers at a disadvantage.
The combining of the budget is fine. Whatever you decide, I think it's appropriate to us. Whatever you decide, because this was presented by the executive.
The Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology also defended its budget with a promise of more legislative support from the lawmakers.
So, my colleagues, I just want to appeal to all of us, see whatever way we can support them, to encourage them, so that we will get the best out of the council.
More agencies are expected to appear before the committee for their budget defense.
Recall is commonly used as an alternative word for remember. But of course, it is its legislative meaning that we are concerned with here. So, what exactly does recall mean in parliamentary terms? Let's find out.
Section 110 of the Constitution provides that when the constituency of a particular representative, either a senator, a member of the House of Representatives, or a member of the State House of somebody, whenever the constituents in a signed petition of not more than not less than half of the registered voters, petition INEC that they have lost confidence in their representatives. INEC have to go conduct a referendum. Once they are able to get a simple majority over half of the registered voters in that constituency, that member is certified to have been recalled. A recall is an instrument, is a constraint instrument in the hands of the electorates that they can recall their representative at any time if they find out that he is incompetent and he's not representing their interest very well. It has not been throughout this thing from 1999 to date. There are attempts, but there has never been any single recall that has succeeded because of its cumbersomeness and its intricacies.
The Wider Area Development Act was introduced in the 8th Assembly, but was not passed. Again, the bill has been reintroduced in the 9th House of Representatives. What is this bill about, and what does it seek to achieve? We spoke with sponsor of the bill and member representing the Kalu, Kefi, Kokona Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State, Gaza, Jonathan Gbefwi.
At a point in time, if you go to my constituency, you really can't draw a line. Where is the FCT and where is Nasarawa State? Because everything has just fused into each other. Now, due to the low financial standings of the bordering states and this high influx, population influx into the satellite towns like Maraba in my constituency, there is excess pressure on infrastructural facilities, social amenities, and other things. So you find out that people are actually dying due to what? Influx of people as a result of overcrowding, overpopulation, and breakdown of these social amenities. Now, what are we advocating for? Simple. A particular percentage, a body should be formed, just as you have the FCDA. And please, let me be very quick to note, this which I propose now was a proposal that was made at the inception of the FCT. In 1976, when Murtala Mohammed wanted to move the FCT to Abuja, when they created the FCDA, they were also to have created the Boundary Development Agency Authority. But for whatever reason, they deferred that particular establishment. But today, and I guess why they did it is because everywhere was bare land, you know, except for my relatives and other tribal persons that had little cultural settings here and there. So, considering the timing to have projected that far into the future, resources were channeled to more pressing priorities at that time. But over time, things have evolved. Urbanization has gone full blown. That which they ignored to do has caught up with us now. So there is actually an urgent need for an establishment to be put together that would see to at least a minimum development of the boundary settlements around the FCT, like Suleja in Niger State, like Maraba, Karu, Masaka, all the way to Kefi in Nasarawa State, Jere on the Kaduna State side, you know, all these places, a particular fund will be put whereby the state government gives a percentage and the FCT itself gives a percentage, and percentages of the payee would equally be paid in there. Now, this fund, just like you have the NDDC funds, will be used for special interventions. Hospitals, because the FCT cannot cross into Nasarawa State and say, I'm building a hospital. But this fund will be provided there, this authority will be provided there to give such interventions. Good schools will be built, hospitals will be built, you know, even roads and other things, so that the average person has a higher and better standard of living.
Ministries, departments, and agencies of government are currently defending their budget estimates before the National Assembly. So there will be no better time to get the input of the people. What do Nigerians want to see when the budget is passed? Let's take a listen.
They should concentrate more on agriculture. We have too many fallow lands in Nigeria. So if you concentrate on that, from there our economy can be improved. The world is looking outside all this oil that we are talking about. So let agriculture be the mainstay of our economy. Youth will be empowered, they will be employed. And the issue of unemployment will be drastically reduced, and our economy will be better for it.
If our Nigerian government can focus on employing youths, I think it will be better. At least it will reduce bandits, it will reduce kidnappers and all of that.
Human capital is the most important segment of the society. So if one can get a qualitative citizenry, that is, if your people are well informed, well educated, well enlightened, all things will fall in the right place. I think one of the reasons why we are not developing the way it ought to be is because we are not concentrating on our own people, because there is no amount of natural resources, there is no amount of any resources that will make a country to develop without having their own, without empowering their people. So I think the most important sector of this thing is education, and then followed maybe by health.
There's very serious problem of food shortage. And apart from that, we have a lot of economic gains to make if we go into agriculture.
And should invest funds and other measures on the security aspects of the country and education too. But mostly the security, that's our major challenge in the country.
The government should invest more in agriculture and make sure farmers are doing well. The prices of food won't go up. People will be happy.
To have quite a lot of our youths that are unemployed, and employment is one of the key indices to measure the economy of a country. So I would have loved that the Nigerian government should focus on providing jobs.
Spokesman of the House of Representatives and Chairman Media and Publicity Committee Benjamin Kalu is our guest on the committee segment. Passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and the budget featured during the discussion. He also spoke on efforts by the Ninth House to stay transparent.
The office of the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, who is the chairman of the Committee on Media and Public Affairs, has engaged the public more than ever before. This office, the Media Committee, has briefed the press corps on a regular basis on issues of national importance. We've not left the press corps scampering for information. We have not left them without content on the activities of the National Assembly. We've been accessible to them. For the public, we started a magazine that we call the Green Chamber Magazine. Many thought we were not going to be able to do it back to back. This magazine we have done back to back. The next edition for December period, Christmas period, the holiday period is being rolled out as we speak. And before we shut down for Christmas, members will be going back with the magazine. This is to tell our story about what we do as Parliament, because we have found out that lack of information out there made it very difficult for the public to understand the workings of the legislature. And if we can break or bridge that information gap, the level of confidence and the credibility of the work we do, with the level of transparency and accountability that we showcase with our being closer to the people, will enhance their understanding. The integrity will be increased because they have more information. In this magazine, we capture constituency operations. We capture legislative functions, from lawmaking to important motions to bill tracking. You can see bill tracking of all the bills from different sectors, so that when you want to know what we have worked on, you pick up this document and you see a whole number of pages on what we are currently working on and the level where they are. This was not there before now. There are still gaps that we need to fill. For example, our website. that is being managed by the bureaucrats. We are fighting to make sure that we'll re-engineer the website, which is the window into what the activities of the National Assembly is. We just finished training the press corps to make sure that their reportage was reflecting exactly what happens in the parliament. We partnered with cars from Germany to give them training. We have also done a workshop for the committee with the German organization NGO as well to train the members of the committee and some of the chairmen and deputy chairmen from various committees. And it's the first of its kind. It has never happened in the recent past. The Senate had a second view on their position and removed the precondition they had earlier included, that NCC involvement should be there, the National Assembly involvement should be there. So, the law establishing INEC defined them as an independent agency that should not tolerate interference in the conduct of their unbiased umpire operations. They accepted that. The second part, which was a major issue, the document that we consider the piece of amendment, was on clause 87. Clause 87 had to do with whether or not we should leave the clause as direct or indirect primaries, or whether we should delete or indirect and leaving only direct primaries. And the Senate also accepted the position of the House there that it should be direct primaries. And it made the passage of that particular piece of legislation easy because of the harmonization. So the same day it was adopted, presented, considered and adopted by the Senate, or the same day it was presented, considered and adopted by the House of Representatives. I must tell you that the commitment of the House in sustaining that budget calendar is as strong as it was when we first started. We would like to present our budget on the 14th of December 2021 to enable it become activated from January 1st, 2022. The MDAs have been cooperating. They've been coming as expected. And some of them who could not come and send their directors or secretary will send them back, because it is expected that the head of the agency, the chief accounting officer, should be the one defending his previous budget performance and also making the proposal and defending his estimates. So most people who did not make it were the reasons why we shifted for these 2 days as a moment of grace. And the truth remains, if they fail to meet up with this new allowance we gave to them, some agencies will go with zero budget if they don't convince the parliament on how they spent taxpayers' money last year and how they intend to spend the one they are asking for currently for next year. May his soul rest in peace. He was actually a personal friend. He wasn't just a member of the press corps. He was interested in reporting exactly what happens here. We never had issues with him. We sympathize with the family, and we, on behalf of the Knights Assembly, especially the House of Representatives, we send our condolences to the family
to the young wife and the kid, the daughter, and the entire enlarged family. Our mission was to help, to ventilate the push to bring him back home, not in his dead body, but as a man that had a job he was doing for all of us. Sad moment for the National Assembly. It's a sad moment for Press Corps, sad moment for the committee, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs.
Sad indeed. But that's where we leave it on you and your reps for the week. Next week promises to be better. I am Victor Azu. Join us again.